I was one of 5 Sudanese linguists in the entire intelligence community working a really important mission. If you remember, Darfur was high with the genocide at the time. It was very porous through Sudan. I was working an important mission. My commander called me in, made me stand outside his office for like 45 minutes at attention, waiting for him to let me in. And he told me, this is 6 months before my reenlistment. And he said, "You're going to Iraq." And I said, "Great. I love to go to Iraq. I'm super happy to go to Iraq. What am I going to do? I'm going to be a linguist, right? I'm going to, like, a translator? Like, what are you going to have me do?" And he said, "No."
Welcome to the Recalibrated. I'm your host, Meade Kincke, and I'm here to take us through the journey of being in the service, transitioning out, and what today looks like. Our guest, Lorri Janssen-Anessi, served over 11 years in the United States Air Force as a technical language analyst supporting high-priority missions. Afterwards, Lorri joined the National Security Agency, where she defended critical systems against emerging cyber threats for over a decade. Today, Lorri is Director of External Cyber Assessments at Blue Voyant, where she helps organizations understand and mitigate real-world cyber risk. Lorri, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm glad to have you, dear. So let's begin with the why. What drew you to the Air Force? Where did that come from?
This is such a funny story. So I grew up in the Bay Area, and if you are familiar with the Bay Area, people do not join the military, they join technology companies. Literally, I'm from Silicon Valley. So I was my 3rd year at college studying pre-med, and my grandfather had passed away, and he had served in the military. But we were not a military family. Like, my mom, my dad, they were hippies. I mean,
so definitely no legacy as far as this is concerned.
Not legacy. So my grandfather had passed away, and I'm not kidding you. Whatever you think, I don't sometimes think things happen for a reason. So as I'm, doing the grind, driving in the Bay Area to work in my part-time job, I just kept hearing recruiting like commercials, which I had never ever heard. So this is about 1995, and my grandfather just passed away. I was very close to my grandfather, and for some reason, I decided one afternoon I was going to go to the recruiting office. There happened to be an Air Force One, so the story is not so amazing. But I went in and I'm like, "Hi, I want to know everything to know about the Air Force. And one thing I will say is it's very expensive to live in the Bay Area. It's been expensive forever." And so I was like, well, definitely in these commercials, they had talked about loan repayment for school. They talked about educational programs. So I was like, sign me up. I'm pre-med. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a medic. I'm coming into the Air Force. So my recruiter was like, "Great. I'm so excited." He's like, "I need your transcripts." So I sent my transcripts. I spoke French. So I had taken French since I was 10. So my family's from Lithuania originally. So I had spoken Lithuanian when I was little. I had English, and then I spoke French fluently. I was still taking it in college. And my recruiter's eyes went, $sign, $sign. Again, I didn't know any of this at the time. And
they looked at you and said, "Intel," like straight away.
100%. He said, "Would you like to take this little test called the D-Lab?" I'm like, "Okay, sure. But I really want to be a medic. So that's where we're going, right? We're going to be a medic. And he's like, "Yep. But first I want you to take the D-Lab."
Ushering you closer to the slaughterhouse of like, but over here, there's something else I want you to see.
Yes. So I took the D-Lab. No surprise. I scored really high on it. And so again, $sign. So Lorri, would you like to be A linguist. No, no, I would not. I would not like to be a linguist. I would like to be a medic. Thank you. And he said, but you could be a spy. You could travel the world. I'm like, no, no. But I have a twin sister and she was at UC Santa Cruz. And if you know where Monterey's, or if you know where the military language school is, it's in Monterey. If you're familiar with geography in California, 30 minutes from each other. So he sold me with that. And I was going to be a spy and travel the world. So that is literally how I came into the Air
Wow.
Force. So I signed the paperwork. I went home, told my mom. She said, "You did what?" And I said, "I'm going into the military." And she said, "No, you're not." And I said, "Too late, Mom. I'm going." So I went into the DEP program, at the delayed entry program, and I was
Sure.
scheduled to leave at Christmas time. So that is my story. Yes.
So safe to say you are an individual that likes an impulse purchase, like close to the register,
Yeah.
where you go like, "Ooh, I do
Oh,
need
yes. I
extra
am.
tires for a truck I don't own." Like
Yes,
what?
I would be that marketing person's wet dream for that. I don't
Oh
know
wow.
this about myself, and I still do it, and it's true. It's true to today, 30 years later. So
Oh, that's
yeah.
so funny. Well, we kind of let's say blew through a little bit of humble beginnings. We can touch on that
Yes.
in a moment. It also kind of blew through, well, like where did I
Yeah.
had a question of, well, did you want to be a linguist? Did you want to be a cryptographic linguist, or were you ushered there? We've kind of covered that.
Mhm.
But
Yes. I
let's
do.
circle back a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, go
Yeah.
ahead.
No, I was going to say it's also interesting because if you noticed, I was an Arabic linguist.
Uh-huh.
So I'm from the Bay Area. So
Not
when you get
and you're Caucasian, so not exactly
yes,
an Arab.
yes. So when you go, if you're not familiar with the US side,
Mm-hmm.
when you're going to be a linguist, you're already you're put in a couple weeks into basic training. They send you in to put this stuff on a card and you say, "What languages would you like?" So what would you guess? I was like, "I want Japanese, Chinese, or Korean." I'm from the Bay Area, right? All my
Sure.
friends growing up. Yeah. So I'm like, of course an
Mm-hmm.
Asian language. What? So I leave basic training, I get to Monterey, and they tell me I'm Arabic. And I'm like,
Like that's not on the
again,
list.
I was like, this was my ignorance at the time. I'm like, where did they speak? Where do they speak that? Like, what is this? What do you want me to do?
I'll give you a hint. It's someplace dry and hot and usually
Yes.
covered in
Well,
sand.
now I know. Now I'm very intimately familiar. I would, fancy myself an expert on that region and that language. Yeah, so that was another funny thing. I did not pick Arabic, but I will say, and maybe you have questions about this, but it's like,
Sure.
truthfully, it was like the best thing that ever happened to me. I
Oh,
had
cool.
the most amazing career, so I'm not mad about it, but it was
Sure.
really a weird series of events to get there in the
A
beginning.
bit of
So
whiplash to start off with.
100%, 100%.
So, as far as like again, kind of circling back, humble beginnings. You know, you could say, "Oh, I started off as this and ended as an officer, so on." So, like, what your trajectory seems a little bit different. How did that landscape look?
It was different. So that was the other thing. I had nobody to guide me along. And now, anytime I hear anybody talking about the military, I'm like, come talk to me first, especially if they're going to do intel. So I could have come in as an officer. I had 3 years of college. That's all you need. You need to have so many credits. But it was funny
Yeah,
because
you're
I was
second
very
lieutenant straight away.
yeah, yeah. So I didn't do that. They didn't tell me that. They obviously lured me in with the bonuses, but I'm such an academic. I really truly I know everybody says they're a lifelong learner, but I am very academic. And so it was really important to me that I was going to get education in this. They didn't Air Force didn't end up paying back any of my loans. That's another
Ouch.
story altogether. But
Okay.
what they did offer is when you go to Monterey, when you go to the Defense Language Institute, you could actually I could continue to attend Monterey Peninsula College. And I
Hmm.
actually ended up finishing my degree while I was studying Arabic. That was another enticement because it is so very bizarre. But anyway, yes. So what?
No, that's all fascinating and wonderful.
It's really weird. It's really weird.
Yeah, well, again, the whole thing about it is, and I definitely know of the whole thing of like, great, we want to get you into language school.
Yes.
We can talk kanji, and you like Japanese and this. How about Arabic? And you go,
How about Arabic? Yeah.
that doesn't sound like noodles. That sounds like sand. And you go, it kind of is. Here's your book.
It was really, it was crazy. Yeah, and if you have linguists on, or if you have linguist friends, it is really, really intense. You're going to language school 40 hours a week. My school is 63 weeks, and right out of the gate, it's the military. So, I was a nerd, so I was all about the studying, but like it was intense. It was like 40 hours with teachers. We had a team of teachers, and then at night you're in the military. You don't get a choice. There's no fun at night. Like they give you this date me. They give you a tape recorder machine and tapes. We had to do our studying with language tapes and these books, and it's like that was it. You are now getting programmed to do a language, and it was so hard because you're sitting in Monterey, and if you've been to Monterey or even nostalgia, like even if you've looked at Monterey, it is gorgeous. It's gorgeous. So we're looking out over the Monterey Bay, sitting in these classrooms in our uniforms, a million hours a day, really
we could be surfing. I could be getting
our
vitamin D, and you go, we don't get to. Very much a prison cell of you don't get to go outside.
And it's like, learn this language, and they're so strict. It's the military, so
it's regimented. Let's just call it what it is.
You have to test, and you have to be progressing, and if you don't progress, that's it. So it was the best of times and the worst times. I made, which I'm sure you were in the military, but I made friendships.
Oh no, I wasn't in the military actually.
Oh, you weren't. Oh, you're a pilot.
No, I am a pilot, but as far as I play in both ends of the world. So it's one of those a long history in technology, a lot of history in security. So I see both ends of the spectrum.
Got it. Okay, that was my bad.
You're fine.
Military, but you work with veterans, so
I do.
The friendships and relationships that you make, and probably the friendships and relationships you make with veterans along the way.
Definitely,
it's like a different bond.
It's a brotherhood. It's one of those things where, obviously, sex aside, it's one of those things where it's a bond. You talk about, well, where have you been with? It's kind of, like when you look at people that go through university and otherwise, and if you get in a program with someone or otherwise, and you chat to students, they have the same kind of thing of like, oh, we're bonded. This is forged in fire.
Right. Well, and this is the funny thing. So we were broken. It was 30 students per class, and you're in 3 classrooms. We were all women except for one guy. It was very weird too. It's very, very strange.
That's atypical.
So atypical. We started with 3 men. So our classroom was 8 people, and we attrited 2 people. And so the one that was standing left, or the one that was left standing, had to do 63 weeks with 5 women. It was so crazy. And if I mean, this is not a surprise. The Arab culture is very
opposite.
Very opposite. And so everything about my initial coming into the military was so weird and unique. Yeah. So it was all, and I am still friends with those women today. We once a year get together and do things because like you were mentioning, that brotherhood, sisterhood, it was so intense, and we are just so close still. Yeah. So I speak to all of them. So
just like once a year get together, make like Turkish coffee and
we'll
just
usually do a girls trip somewhere. So we'll go to Nashville, or we're a little let loosey, but I don't know. Not talk about that, Meade. Let's leave that for another podcast.
I went Turkish coffee, but you get to go how you like.
Yeah. Good Turkish coffee. That's what we do.
Yeah. No liquid courage or anything involved.
None of that. Never. Nary a drop.
Very ladylike. Very ladylike.
Very. So anyway.
I love it. Oh goodness. So let's let's ask during your service, like what's one of
Yes.
those things where you were so wonderfully glad that smartphones were not present to record?
Gosh, in the
Oh,
military.
I just watched it happen. I just watched the inside of your mind go,
Yeah.
oh
Oh my
Christ.
God, so many times. So, okay. So in the military, especially back then, it was work hard, play hard, and out
Sure.
of the gate, like I said, we were very our strings were tight at DLI.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike any other technical school, ours, everybody who's a linguist is the very, very least amount of time your technical school would be, I think, is 6 months. But I might even be wrong on that. It might be like 8 months, and that would be
Sure.
Spanish. So when you finally didn't have to be so regimented, and that's months into this course,
Mm-hmm.
people played very hard. Monterey is fun. The weather's beautiful. It's California. I was
Sure.
not far from my friends who were all in universities throughout the Bay Area. So I'm glad there was no cell phones around. And I'll have to full disclosure. I was one of
Hmm.
those DLI marriages. So I met my husband there.
Oh
Um,
wow.
well, we're divorced now, so that shows you the
Okay.
success of it. Um,
Maybe we can blame the pressure. It was
yeah,
just too much pressure.
too much pressure. Yes, and we were older because I was 21, he was 22, 23. That
Mm.
was old, right? For technical school, we were so worldly and knowledgeable, and we just knew that we were right for each other. So that's all good and fine. But
Okay.
for all those reasons, there was a lot of down there, not a lot of downtime, but when there was downtime, we definitely worked hard, played hard. So glad there are
Sure.
no cell phones that could go back to my commander or, you know,
Anything
anybody.
you're at liberty to say?
Um,
One
okay,
standout story, something
so we were
fun.
not, oh gosh, okay, do not do this if anybody's listening in the military or
Listen,
but
kids.
we
Listen, kids.
we listen, kids, and remember digital cameras and things like that were not prolific.
No.
So we were in dorms even after we got married. We didn't get to move off base for a while, and so we would
Hmm.
sneak into the different barracks. I was in the Air Force, he was in the Army,
Oh, okay.
and we would go into each other's rooms. You are not allowed to do that, and you would be that would be career ending. And tech school, that would be career ending. But we
Did you
did.
get caught though?
No, we did not.
See, listen.
Yeah,
This is the thing. It's easier to ask forgiveness than permission. You go like, didn't get
yeah.
caught though.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. And it's been so long. So what's the rule of time?
Oh, statute of limitations.
Statute
But
of limitations.
I
Yes,
think we've hit
statute of
it. I think
limitation.
we've
I'm
hit
not
it.
even. Yeah. So
No,
we
we're
didn't get
fine.
any
It's
awards
covered.
there. So there's nothing to take away. So
I love it. So, how like nearing the end of your service? Like, what drove your decision to retire?
this is another interesting story. Okay, so with enlisted, you
Mm.
enlist and then you enlist and then you enlist. Unlike officers, which you have like
Sure.
basically an open-ended contract and then you resign or you just retire. So I enlisted. I came in with 4 years. I was going to do 4 years and get out.
Okay.
They convinced me to sign up for 6 with a bonus. So I had 6 years. And then 6 months before your 12 years, they come back and they ask you if you want to reenlist again. I was going to reenlist. However, this is at the time where we had been in Iraq. So this was 2006.
Sure.
We had rotated through so many of our active reserves, and the Department of Defense came together with the Department of the Air Force, Army, Navy, Marines, and said, okay, we can't rotate anybody else out. Who can we get? And they said, go to Intel. Those people can learn like this. They're all so smart. They can do it.
Okay.
They said, okay, well, let's go to the Arabic linguists. So at this time, I was actually at the National Security Agency. I was
Okay.
one of 5 Sudanese linguists in the entire intelligence community working a really important mission. If you remember, Darfur was high with the genocide at the time. Terrorists
A
it
little
was
bit.
tourists through Sudan. I was working court a mission. My commander called me in, made me stand outside his office for like 45 minutes at attention, waiting for him to let me in. And he
Oh,
told
wow.
me, this is 6 months before my reenlistment. And he said, "You're going to Iraq." And I said, "Great. I love to go to Iraq. I'm super happy to go to Iraq. What am I going to do? I'm going to be a linguist, right? I'm going to, like, a translator? Like, what are you going to have me do?" And he said,
You're like,
"No."
I'm doing code breaking, of course. That's what
Right.
I'm here
He
for.
said, "No, you are going to be logistics." And I said,
Never done this in my
"Logistics?
career.
What is that?" And he said, "Laying tarmac. You're going to lay tarmac." I'm like, "No, no, no. I'm a 3-3 Arabic linguist. I'm going to be doing. Surely you need translators in Iraq, right? I know Gulf, right? No, that's not what you're going to do." I said, "What?" So I went home. And I had 3 days to make a decision about this. And I was like, this was supposed to be a year deployment, maybe 18 months with some training.
Okay.
So I had to make a decision then. And if I didn't take this assignment, I would not be able to reenlist. It was an honorable discharge, but I had
Sure.
to make a decision. And I decided, obviously,
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm knee deep in, and at that time I was meeting with the State Department regularly. I was meeting with intelligence communities. We were really trying to work foreign relations in that region. And
Yeah.
I was one of the few Arabic linguists that knew that dialect. And I'm like, this doesn't feel right. So I was like, no, I'm not
Wow.
going to do it. And so then that was the choice. But listen to this. This is the best
Oh, do tell.
the best part of the story. So I say, well, I'm not reenlisting, and that's all fine, right? I did my time. Like, there's nothing.
Sure.
I was obligatory to my contract. Like, I did nothing wrong. When you work at NSA, you have 2 chains of command. You have your Air Force chain of command. So I was part
Okay.
of that squadron. And then you have your NSA chain of command, which is still military, but it's inside
Sure.
the building.
Mm-hmm.
You have to sign out like all the good military stuff. Everything is a checklist. You have to checklist.
Sure.
Signs off. So I'm checking out of my last office with my senior enlisted person in the building. And he goes, "Why are you getting out?" Much like your question. And I said, "Well, this is why I'm getting out." And he said, "Are you kidding me?" And I said, "No." And he said, "We need 1,000 Arabic linguists."
He's like, we're losing you because someone wanted you to mop up.
Right. But he said, "How did this not come to me? They needed Arabic linguists to deploy to Iraq." And I was not opposed to deploying. And he tried to stop my getting out of the military.
Yeah.
It was too late. It was already too late. Orders were cut. It was too late. So I got out. But in all honesty, like I mentioned at the beginning, everything happens for a reason. What do most linguists do that work at NSA? Come right back in the building. So I came right back in the building.
Like, but now I'm a contractor.
I did. I came in as a contractor at first because it takes an inordinate amount of time to come back in, even if you are sitting your butt in a desk.
Clearances.
Because we only do the counter intel poly. We don't do the lifestyle poly for that. And so there's a whole process. So I came in as a contractor. Sure. That's another whole story too. I was supposed to be a Pentagon. My life is just a series of weird things that happen, and mostly
you're just a walking pinball where you're just a pinball. You get knocked from one thing to the other, and you like say hello to James.
The process has been good for me. I trust the process. So I was supposed. This is so funny. So my contractor job was at the Pentagon. That is what I was going to do. But I was still on a contract. So contracts, they just fill you in sometimes. So I was filling in on a contract for counterterrorism at NSA.
Gotcha.
And after a couple months, so I was working actually 2 contract jobs. So the second contract that I was working in the meantime came to me and he said, "I really know that you are so excited about your Pentagon job that's starting any day, but what if I brought you on to do this job full time?" And I was like, okay. And honestly, in my mind, I'm thinking, months have gone by. This Pentagon thing has not started. I don't know when it's going to start because contracts are weird. And that was the beginning of the year. And so I ended up switching contract jobs to work counterterrorism at NSA. So that was that was my little weird thing. So again, it wasn't really, I thought I would, oh, also, break. I was trying to go back to the original thing. I was applying to U shoes. So I still wanted to be a doctor. So there's a
Okay.
school in Bethesda that is the Uniform Services Unified Health System, and you can go be a doctor. So I was actually in the process of, that was what I was going to do. I was going to stay in, but not stay enlisted. I was going to switch over, be a doctor. But that whole thing changed my entire course. And then I'm like, I'm not
Sure.
staying in, so
So
yeah,
funny.
so weird.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know.
So we've kind of bridged a few gaps here, but
Yeah.
in the transition, let's ask it this way.
Yes.
When like, what was the first moment that you realized civilian life would be a little bit different?
So it really, I was very fortunate. Had I done a different job, it would have been vastly different.
Sure.
It wasn't grossly different because I came back in to work counterterrorism. But what I will tell you is a couple of things were very, very hard. So not wearing the uniform every day, not the hierarchy was still there because it's government, public sector,
Sure.
but it wasn't as clear. And when you're in your uniform, everybody already knows what you do. They see what your job is, they see your
It's
rank.
understood.
It's understood. And it's not understood as a civilian. We don't wear our grades on our shoulder.
Sure.
And so, I also tend to look younger than I am, which is great, I'm sure, from a ego perspective, but from a professional perspective, it was challenging. So I was like,
You're
people
like,
didn't really
who
know
was
who
the
I was.
toddler? Do we
Right.
trust the
And I looked like a
toddler?
toddler.
She's cute and all, but
Yes, but I had such a big career and I
yeah,
had worked such important missions and I had done such important things, but all of that I wore inside. I didn't wear it
sure.
in my civilian space. And so it was, I felt like you were constantly having to I had to constantly prove myself again and again and again.
Sure.
And so it was very hard to do that. And then also, not having it's weird because like I said, there's a lot of transition from your friends from the military to civilian in NSA. If they work at NSA, they're coming back to NSA, but it's a different friendship. Like, we didn't bond the same way. We used to have to PT together, and
Sure.
I was a PTL, which is, I don't even know what it stands for, but I led the PT sessions. And so
Sure.
3-4 times a week we were getting together. There was just different things, and all of that was gone. Like, the next day it's just gone, and you're like, oh, I want to go PT with my friends. I want to go to the chow hall. I want to take a class. Oh, can I go to that language training with my friend? No, you can't. It's all over. It's done. So finding your, like, even, and I know I didn't do 20, but I did almost 12. Like,
Sure.
my entire identity was wrapped up in the military at that point. Everything. And then it was gone. Like, you walk in, then you come back, and you're like, who am I and what am I doing?
I've talked about this a lot, and it's the way I describe it. I'll say it for your benefit as well. It's like a miniature death. Like, you just kind of go and you go like, what is this? People understood who I was and this and everything else.
Right.
And exactly like you said,
Yeah.
needing to explain yourself, I'd say, is like a joke that doesn't work. Like, if
Right.
you need to explain the joke, it's not a good joke.
It's not going to work. And you have to mourn. You mourn it. And even to this day, like, it's funny. I'm not even going to lie. Like, a couple, maybe 6 months ago or something, I was looking up, like, can I still do reserves? I was like,
you just need the taste. You just need a little taste.
wear the uniform again. Like, it's such a weird thing. And, like, no, do I want to be back in the military? No. Did I love the grind? Did I love the weight? Like, they weigh you and they tape you and they make you exercise. And did I hate all of that? Yes, but also you love it. I don't know. It's like such a weird thing. And I'm not kidding you. I'm like, I guess I'm too old, but being part, and again, I was in the public sector up until 2020. Being in the public sector and being in the military is like a little diaspora of that, and you miss. It's like, I still miss it. I mean, I think I'll miss it forever. I'm so jealous when I watch people doing parades and stuff. I'm like, oh, that was such a horrible but great time.
Well, see, that's the thing is like with me, I've seen and done a good amount more than I've taken people's share. I'll say it that way.
Yeah,
And when you
yeah,
talk about exactly like you're talking about doing
yeah.
parades and things that are fun, like spinning an M1, wearing chrome domes and things like that. And
Yeah,
you go like, this is an experience that not everyone get to have.
right,
And when you've
right.
done those things,
Yeah,
it's just either you get it or you don't. And you go like, what's
it's
a wrist
true.
breaker? And you're like, I'll show you later. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
it's
It
different
is, it's
stuff.
so true. And even, especially now, like I'm hearing friends retiring
Hmm,
and moving on and things like that. And like that's the other thing I'm like sad about. I never got to do like the military retirement. I never got to do like some of that stuff. And I'm
sure.
like, should I have done it? Would that have been a better idea? But
Hmm,
hindsight. Although I wouldn't change
no,
it. I don't know. That's the thing. It's like I also was very lucky when our
sure.
first engagement. You asked me, about some of this transition stuff, and
Yeah,
I had an amazing military career. I had an amazing civil servant career. So
sure.
I wouldn't change it, but I miss it. No,
No, I get it. I get it. Yeah, you're
yeah.
one of the kind of few that kind of made it out clean and made it out unscathed. The
So many
majority of
blessings.
individuals that depart the military, it's much
Yeah, much
more
harder.
raw. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
so
yeah,
definitely consider yourself fortunate that way.
yeah. I don't envy them. It would be very hard to go back to my hometown and
Mm,
have none of it. Like, at least I had this, like, transition into the civil
sure.
servitude. So, yeah, yeah.
It's definitely not always polite. I'll say it that way.
Oh, I know it. I know it. I know it.
Hmm. So we've kind of come up with like you've touched on some things that I already have to ask you with like about identity crisis,
Ooh,
because there's definitely that thing of like, well, I had an insignia on a lapel, people knew what
yeah,
this meant, and I
right.
don't. So we've kind of touched on that. Were there any things that didn't translate so well, or like things that you needed to unlearn?
Things I needed to unlearn. The hat thing.
The hat,
Yes, your cover.
indoors, outdoors, who are wearing
Yes.
it?
It was so weird. I'm telling you, it was like a phantom hat on your head for years. I'm not talking like months. I'm talking years because again, I think it's because went in and out of the same buildings. That
Sure.
instant, it was so
Well,
weird.
you already know you take it off, you tuck it in the belt, you go in, you
Yeah,
go on about your day. And
it's
I know.
so weird. It's so weird. And then sometimes I found myself almost saluting people. So again, remember, I'm walking the same halls, I'm going in the same entries, I'm parking in the
Same
same parking
people.
lot. And so you're so that stuff is so ingrained into you. It's
Yeah.
literally muscle movement. And you're like, oh my God, I'm not wearing a uniform. Why am I trying to salute this person? Like, hands down. Hey.
Well, this is
So,
sort of the same kind of thing of talking like different branches, but like I've talked to lots of individuals in the same sort of experience with, sir and ma'am, and
yes.
we've said this. And listen, you call an NCO sir or ma'am, like
Yeah, it's very
you
frowned upon.
you
Yes.
will
I work
find out
for a
very
living.
quickly. Don't do
I
that.
work for a
Like,
living.
yeah. It's true though, and all of
Yeah.
those things. It's like old habits die hard. The
So
same kind
true.
of thing. Like we've talked about, being a physician and otherwise. And you go, well, what is it to wear a stethoscope 18 hours a day? And you go, how many times you go to a shop and you go, hey doc, you're like, oh, thank you, just for that.
Yeah.
And you forget the stethoscope on. You forget all
Yeah.
of that stuff because it becomes part of the persona.
Right.
Just is.
Right. So, one other thing that's worth noting that was very weird, and it kind of is the reverse of what I was talking about earlier, is that
Mm,
leaders are not always the experts. And you're ingrained in the military to believe that the rank it automatically makes you the
definitely.
expert. And unlearning that was very challenging because
Mm,
my automatic response to any leader in the room, even if they're one grade above me, was to
sure.
be so deferent. And you can't be deferent sometimes. You have to manage up. And that was something that was very hard. I'm very good at it now, but it was very hard to allow yourself to do that. That was another very interesting transition and very, very necessary for me to learn.
Well, yeah, the hierarchy thing, again, it as you've said, it just because you're quote unquote the boss doesn't mean that
Right.
you're good at it. It just means
Right.
that maybe you have seniority, maybe you've been there, maybe
Right.
you are good at, a handshake and you talk your way into it.
Right.
Who knows?
Right.
But
You
the thing
know,
is
yeah.
that, like you get in a room with like a boardroom with a CEO, you can put me in, we can chat. That doesn't mean that I won't tear you apart. It doesn't
Right.
mean that I
Right.
will. But the
Right.
thing is, you get to come, and if the expertise is there,
Right.
great. The thing that I always find works best is I treat everyone like they always know nothing. If they
Yeah.
know a ton, if we have a conversation and it goes past that, we can always fast forward. But
Right.
on my end, I always feel like it's a failure if you presume that people know things, because
Right.
then you can miss big gaps, and you go like, oh
Right.
yeah, I thought you knew that. That's a
Right.
horrible play.
Right. 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 It's a horrible play. So yeah,
So
so that's another thing.
there's that. Well, I will say to the audience, if you all are loving what we're doing as much as we are, be sure to smash that subscribe button. And here's on to the now.
Yes.
What is the mission now?
So the mission now is cybersecurity. I talked a lot about counterterrorism. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't. I With NSA, obviously communications are at the crux of everything they do, and so understanding technology and how communications happen, you are automatically know. But I was not. I was not a cybersecurity person, but I was an Arabic linguist. So what happened is
Sure.
when I was a civilian for this transition, but again, in the public sector, so you're a civil servant, that servitude is still there. They were like, you know Arabic, so you can work Iran. I was like, except
Sure.
they speak Persian, not Arabic.
Mm-hmm.
But they were much like me in the beginning. Where do they speak this foreign language? So I actually, because of national priorities, um, transitioned to that. So that's how I got into cybersecurity.
Okay.
But I told you I'm an academic. So I went back to
Yeah.
school, got my master's in electrical and computer engineering. I was
Okay.
really, really interested in cyber warfare. So I got a master's certificate in cyber warfare.
Okay.
I loved this field, which totally goes full circle because I came from the Bay Area. So, like, I
Yeah.
don't know why I love cybersecurity and I didn't know about it back when I lived there. Because
Timing
again,
is a thing. Timing is a
it's
thing.
a thing. It's a
Let's
thing.
call it.
And it's like youth is a weird thing too. And you
Sure.
think you like something. So once I was moved over to cybersecurity, I loved it. And then I continued until 2020, like I mentioned. And then how do I transition this story? So 20, I'm going to be very abridged about it because I am
That's
very
fine.
anxious. But for a long time, I felt like I was kind of getting to the end of my career with regards to cybersecurity. So 25
Okay.
years is kind of a point. 30 years is really the magic number. You want to be 57. I was nowhere near 57, but there was this point during COVID, and I think we all
Hmm.
kind of stepped back and reevaluated things. I decided to explore options outside of the government. Let's put it like that.
Okay.
Some personal things had happened. My dad had gotten sick, and I'm just going to leave it at that. So
Okay.
I needed to address some family issues, and it really came to light work life balance in the public sector and
Gave you
how,
that pause.
yes, and how as long as you're in the public sector, military or civil servant, somebody still controls your life.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the point where I had decided, okay, and I had been thinking for a while. So I'm not saying COVID, I'm not saying anybody specifically around that, but I was like, I'm going to explore this. So I had a life event like so many of us do, and it made me
Mm-hmm.
take pause. And I was like, I'm going to evaluate this. So I applied. I had no idea what the private sector was for hiring. Holy heck. It's like they want you to start yesterday. Once they decide they want you, the government is not like that. It takes forever to come back in and get a job. And they were
Mm-hmm.
like, within a week, they wanted me to start when I made a decision.
Sure.
And I was like, I'm a leader. I had moved down to Georgia for this position. I'm like, I can't just come off of leave and tell them I'm leaving.
Mm.
So I did come back from leave. I did tell them I was leaving, and I technically retired early. So I have a deferred retirement.
Okay.
And I told them I would give them 30 days. And it was the scariest thing, second to leaving the military.
You're like, I've
And
never moved this fast. These are breakneck
I've
speeds. I don't know what to
never,
do here.
and it's funny, but I will tell you, like, the military definitely helps you for this. It's like, you kind of just have to make these decisions on
Hmm.
instinct and your gut. And you're just like, okay, what is my gut telling me? Is this right? Is this right? And then you just do it. And then you hope and pray it was the right decision. And for me, it was the right decision. So
There
now
you
I'm
go.
cybersecurity in the private sector. However, we acquired a public sector company. And so I do work a lot still with the public sector because I
Okay.
can't stop myself. Um,
It's
yeah.
kind of the mob for you. Like, you're like, I'm in, it's
Yes, you
fine.
just want you back in there. Um, so I love my company. I love cybersecurity. I do a lot of outreach regarding
Okay.
cybersecurity for STEM. It's so important to me, like next gen recruitment, next gen interest, getting bright-eyed, bushy-tailed people in the
Hmm.
cybersecurity field. So I'm sure you saw that in my
Yeah.
resume. So I continue to do that. And yeah, so I went to cybersecurity. I've never looked back. I don't see myself changing out of this field. I think there's a lot of work to be done here. And really the public private partnering is so important. And I'm trying to
Mm,
like get that actually working. We've talked about it for years. So yeah.
sure. So, safe to presume you're going to be at next year's Black Hat DEF CON at like Lockpick Village and
All the
playing with the
companies are
kids.
so strict about it though. So like they only let a couple people and because I've done these
I
before,
know.
they don't let you if they go. If I could pay out of my own pocket, I would. Maybe I will. I don't
Sure.
know. But
Well, it
yeah,
all depends
no.
on what you want out of it. You know, like Black Hat,
Yeah.
it's corporate. It is what
A
it is,
party.
and
Yeah.
it's the way I describe DEF CON though. It's like it's
Yeah.
keeping up with the kids. You have
Yeah.
the oddballs and this and everything else, but they're definitely stories
Yes.
like I've done private events at both,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
different. Let's just
It's
say it that
different.
way.
It's definitely like the event. Those are the two events everybody wants to go
Well,
to because they're
here's the
just
wild thing I'll
fun.
tell you about me. It's the stupidest thing, and it's always during my birthday. And it's the hottest time. I'm dead serious. Like, it's
It is
always
so
that.
hot. Yeah.
And you're like, where should we go? And you go, Paradise, Las Vegas, middle of August. That sound good to you? And you're like, no, that sounds like hell on earth. And you go, we're going. Like,
Yeah. You're like, great, great. It is
everything is sticking to everything.
everything.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And it's just hot. It's
It
just
is.
hot. Yeah.
It's a different spot. Oh, goodness. So you kind of touched on it, but like, as far as leaving service, like, how is your identity? You know, how you see yourself in the mind's eye? How has that shifted?
I think that you never stop seeing, like, I'm very proud to be to be an American, yes, but I'm very
Sure.
proud to be a veteran. I'm still like, I don't know. I still get sappy and weird about when they play the Air Force song or like, I don't know. It's so weird. And I'm telling you, I do not come from a military family. This
Sure.
is something that is a byproduct of my experience.
I love it.
So I'm a proud veteran. I'm a proud, like, and my family's so proud. My mom did not want me to do it, but oh boy, does she echo my praises like anytime she can. Um, and I think it's because it really did. I needed the military as much as it needed me, right?
Fair.
So they definitely knew they needed me. They needed
Sure.
linguists. But I took a lot too. And so it is who I am. I definitely am proud to share that anytime I can, which I feel very fortunate because I do talk to, Vietnam vets who did not have the same experience. So I am very grateful for the way that we are accepted. And then I've been very fortunate because my first duty station was in Texas, very veteran forward, Maryland, very veteran forward, Georgia, very, very
Sure.
veteran forward. So I've only ever had positive experiences, which again, nothing but gratitude for that. And it is who I am. So I would say I wouldn't be the same person, obviously, for all the crazy
Sure.
routes that I took here. I wouldn't be who I am, and I wouldn't be the professional that I am. And
Hmm.
I definitely know for sure that the military and the intelligence community make you a certain kind of worker. Cause I've even had like bosses who are like, any of your friends like you want to come and work for us? We love your work ethic. It's great. Um, so yeah, I mean, it is who I am. Military intelligence. It
Sure.
is just who I am. Yeah.
I love it. So, what, let's say, strengths from service do you feel like today still serve you well?
So definitely working under pressure without a lot of information. I think that's why I'm successful in cybersecurity because we
Hmm.
never have all the information. We have to make decisions. That is something that it didn't matter what mission I was working, that was always front of line. But they teach you again to rely on the things that you know. So the information that you have,
Well, you already
keep
said
it
instinct, and like that's something I teach
instinct, right?
constantly.
Instinct,
You
and
go,
then
does it
teamwork.
feel correct?
Does
Because
it
if
feel
it
correct?
does,
Second, think about it a second time, step back and think about it a third time.
mm-hmm,
And I will tell you, I think the second part of that is that there are real world consequences for decisions that you make in the military.
mm-hmm,
Real lives, real people,
sure,
real effects for a long time. So
mm-hmm,
you are a more thoughtful person. You are more deliberate. And I think you can't change that. That becomes calibrated into your system, to use your
I love
calibration.
it. Hey, I'll
So
take it.
yeah, and I don't think you can ever recalibrate that in people who
Mm,
have had this long, for instance, my long career. I don't
sure,
think you can change it. Like it's just baked into who I am. So yeah.
I gotcha. So, what advice would you have on offer for those that are in transition or kind of dealing with that whirlwind?
Yes. Yes. So trust yourself and your decisions that you made. Know that you will be successful. You just have to go through the journey. And again, I definitely totally understand that I've had it easier than many, because my transition was so similar, like my environment was so similar. But I definitely know that the feelings that I had are probably similar, if not on different scales. So I would
Sure,
say trust the process, go through the process. You know who you are, you will find your space. Remember the things that you're strong at, remember your passions, and you can translate those into a a civilian life. So if you were passionate about certain things, just figure out where those are reflected in civilian life and then find those and then continue to find your tribe. Like I said, I meet with my friends that we went to DLI with. Find that group of similar people, even if you're totally far from all of that, and connect, like continue to connect, keep those connections. And I think that that really helps, with the transition. Those are my suggestions.
I understand. All great points. Now, I'll ask what, for the general populace, for the civilians, for those not in service, what would you like them to know about veterans?
I'd like them to tell. That's a great question. I would say really understand the value of who you're getting because we really do give so much of ourselves and we really do change. We change on a cellular level. It's like, so really do appreciate the sacrifices that we made, no matter what that veteran's job was or what they did. Understand that it is, you really truly are giving yourself for their freedom. And don't forget that. And just have a little bit of gratitude. Have a little bit of gratitude that we were maybe working on Thanksgiving while you were enjoying your family, or maybe give a little gratitude. I'm not asking for like gross praise, but know that with veterans' lives come sacrifice. And it doesn't
Sure,
matter what veteran you're talking to, whatever job they had, there was a sacrifice that they gave, a sacrifice of themselves, number one, a sacrifice to their family, number two, and a sacrifice to their country. And just don't forget that. Like, I know it can be easy and to like forget as you're talking to them or as they become a civilian, or like maybe they've really adapted to life, but they still at the end of the day did something to ensure your freedom. And that's it. I think just a little gratitude.
Small drum to bang on, and I
Yeah.
think it's a good one to hit.
Yeah.
So let's ask, what is a telly show or a film that, you think, wow, it's so painfully accurate that I can taste it, or it's so just ridiculous, but it just makes you feel something. What's
Yes.
something like that you go like, oh no, I get this one. That one works for the military.
Okay. So this is going to be so cliche when I say it. You're going to be
Do
like,
it.
what, Lorri? But I can't help myself because it really did resonate with me. So Homeland, I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
I am an intelligence girly and I worked those missions. And so what am I going to say about Homeland? It was dramatized 100%.
Only a touch.
Yes. But what I'm going to tell you that resonated with me were a couple things. Number one, that isolationist feeling that she had, like how her relationships continued to be affected. When you work intel, and especially when you work counterterrorism, you cannot share these stories with your family. So there's this sentiment of isolation. Even if you are surrounded by tons of friends and family, you still feel very secluded. Number two was just the grand enormity of what she was doing. Every day that I was working that particular mission, just the moral ambiguity and the criticality of the consequences of what you were doing, and the importance of not only lives saved but lives potentially lost were all things that resonate in this. And they did get that right. They got that sentimentality really, really accurate. The part where you have to make decisions again on instinct and your gut when you don't have all the information, that was the daily grind for me. Things they got wrong, which maybe you were going to ask.
Oh, I thought this is your show, dear. You get to talk how you like.
So nothing is ever a solo flyer. There is no singular person that can ever do that. And everything that we do is based on teamwork. And
they
team
always do
assessment.
this, that, like where they go, oh, like when they say like non-official cover and like, oh, what does a knock look like? And you go, not what you really think,
Right. Correct. So they got that wrong. There's no beautiful blonde girl who knew everything. It just doesn't happen like that. And again, the other thing that cracked me up, which some of it they got right, some of it they got wrong. The government does not move fast in any capacity on anything. So like this stuff where you're like, no, that's not going to happen.
Have you heard of our good friend Paperwork? Let me introduce you.
Yes. Let me introduce you to Paperwork. Let me introduce you to the lawyers. Let me introduce you to ethics. So there wasn't, that cracked me up. Like, I wish we could move at that speed of Homeland. That was awesome. But we didn't have a plot to devise. And we, at the end of the day, what we were trying to do is save, human lives and Americans and allies. So, but I did love it. I'm going to fully disclose, I did not watch it for a long time. I did not watch it until I deployed. And then I had downloaded a bunch of it on my iPad and I was like, oh my God, I was just like so hungry for that show. It was so crazy.
Just binge watch the whole thing. You're like, this is me.
I know, it's so funny. And I actually was at an embassy in a foreign country, perhaps the Middle East one. And there was a girl there and I swear she was her. I'm like, you are the Homeland girl. Like, that is you. Anyway, so Homeland, I know, so cheesy. So cheesy, but it's so cliche for me to say it, but I loved it. I loved it.
So. No, that works great. Oh, goodness. Well, Lorri, thank you so much for coming. And finally, for those looking to connect, where is best to find you?
I'm really on LinkedIn a lot. And can I just say a little plug for LinkedIn? So,
sure.
Can I talk about one tiny transition coming out of the cleared world? Like. Yeah. Coming out of having a clearance. When I transitioned to the private sector, it was like the world opened up to me because we were not allowed to post on social media. La, 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 la. You can't do anything. Now
Sure.
I love LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. So find me on LinkedIn. I love to write. Like I told you, I'm an academic. I'm always reading and I always
I love it.
have something to say about something. And so um, I love LinkedIn. I don't know. It's like the greatest thing that was ever invented.
Well, you've
for
been in a
professionals,
bottle for 20 years and you're like, I get to say hello to people now.
I do. So, and the other way I use that platform is to connect to students and to connect to next gen. And I tell them at every
Nice.
single event that I'm at, like, connect with me here. Like, don't be afraid. I know everybody tells you to connect. Your biggest asset in your career is going to be your networking circle. So
Definitely.
connect, reach out to people, cold call them. I think that's how we connected. Like, it's so people who are passionate and love their career, especially those of us who can like talk and share it, are like,
Sure.
come into my world. I will share what I can and I will do that. So LinkedIn is probably the easiest way to get a hold
All
of
day,
me.
every day.
All day, every day. I'm always on it. So.
Well, to all of you, thank you so much for coming on the journey. We have lots of new stories coming soon, and for those of you that would like to support the channels, the effort, if you will, directly, be sure to join the tribe on Patreon. Cheers all.
Never in the history would we ever just take a tool and implement it into our systems without rigid testing. And we do. We're like, yes,